is doing a great work. He's doing a great work in me. God is doing over and over and over and over and over doing a great work. God is doing a great work. He's doing a great work. He's doing a great work in me. God is doing a great work. He's doing a great work. He's doing a great work in me.
Let's all say amen. Let's say amen and dear God is doing a great work. Let God do a great work in you. To our pastor, Reverend Kevin Rainey, to everybody that makes up this congregation today, we count it a blessing and an honor to be able to stand here today and to deliver God's word. I want to draw your attention to John chapter 13. Now, I read some of the scriptures that I want to read, add some scriptures, and I'm going to read some of the same stuff, and then we're going to get ready to go into this message today. Amen. John 13, 1 and 2. It says, now behold, the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father. Having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them until the end. And the supper, I want you to get there. And the supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Now, John verse 81 says, and therefore when he was gone out, therefore when Judas was gone out to betray him, therefore when he was gone out, Jesus said, now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. And if God be glorified in him, God shall also glorify him in himself, and straightway glorify him. Little children, yet a little while I am with you, and you shall seek me, and as I say unto the Jews, whether I go, you cannot come. So now I say to you. I want to use for a subject, a thought for today's message, Jesus' last teaching.
All right.
At the Passover.
Okay.
Jesus' last teaching at the Passover.
At the Passover.
Every first Sunday, we do the Lord's Supper.
All right.
And it is called the Passover.
Uh-huh.
One of the reasons why it is called the Passover is because when Pharaoh would not let Israel go, God had Israel to kill a lamb without blemish and take the blood and put it on the doorpost. And when the death angel came through, when the death angel saw the blood on the doorpost, the death angel would pass over.
All right, all right.
But as I began to study this message, because we use more of what Matthew said in his telling of the Lord's Supper. says that Jesus said, my time
That's it.
is at hand.
Mm-hmm.
And he also says that they sat down to eat. And as they were sitting down to eat, he says that Jesus addresses Judas.
All right.
And as I began to study it, I began to realize that Matthew and Mark basically tell the same story.
All right.
But John, Luke and John says that
All right.
Jesus does not address Judas until after they had eaten.
All right.
Now let me point out to you what this Lord's Supper really meant.
Uh-huh.
Because we have an idea of what it is, because they would, first of all, they would kill a lamb without blemish.
All right.
They would take his blood and take it to the priest in the temple, and the priest would take the blood and pour the blood over the mercy seat,
That's right. That's
which
right.
was an atonement for sin,
Uh-huh.
and meant that their sins were forgiven. But now this is called the last Passover.
Yes.
And they would take the lamb, and they would roast the lamb with bitter herbs and unleavened bread. And after the sacrifice had been made,
Yeah.
then they would have what we're dealing with in our text today, the Lord's Supper.
Uh-huh.
And they would eat the lamb, and with these bitter herbs and unleavened bread. But also there would be wine and bread at the supper also.
All right. All right.
And so the description is that they were imagine they were sitting down eating. And while they were sitting down eating, Jesus takes the bread, because the wine had already been poured in all of the cups. But at this particular Lord's Supper, Jesus took the bread and took the wine that was in his cup,
All right.
and began to tell them that this bread represents my body, and what's in this cup represents my blood.
All right. All right.
But God always has a plan.
That's right.
The salvation plan was a plan that was well thought of, and if you see it today, was a master plan.
All right.
There were some things that had to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and there were some things that had to go on before Jesus could go to Calvary and die for us.
All right.
And the disciples were no different than we are. We come to church Sunday after Sunday. We come to Bible class, and we come to little do we remember what is being said to us from Sunday to Sunday.
All right.
They had followed Jesus for 3.5 years, but they didn't understand Jesus' true ministry.
That's right. That's right.
The only reason why Jesus came to this earth
One reason.
was to die.
That's right.
Everything else
That's right.
is preliminary. His main purpose,
Purpose.
his main objective was to die.
My Lord.
And it wasn't Jesus. It wasn't like Jesus hadn't told them, hadn't made statements to them. He had said to them, "Greater love has no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friend. He had told them, he said, y'all see this temple? He says, I'm going to destroy it in 3 days and build it back up again. And he was talking about his dying. He said, as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, so shall the son. So when we deal with this text today,
All right.
it should not have been a surprise to them that he had to die.
All right.
But what Jesus did not do is that he did not tell them his plan.
That's right.
And he did not tell them until in this 13th chapter does he tell them how he's going to die. And yet when he tells them how he's going to die and tells them that he has to die, they don't understand.
That's right.
And you try to figure out how is it that they got following him for 3.5 years and listen to him talk and listen to him teach, but yet they didn't get it. But I can see it now that we preach Sunday after Sunday and teach Wednesday after Wednesday, and we don't
get it.
And we don't get it. But as we look in John today, John says that he sits down and he eats with them.
All right.
But John says when the supper was ended, he begins to talk to Judas, because Judas was important in God's intricate plan.
That's right.
Of Jesus. You really can't say without no Judas there would be no cross. But it's kind of like that. Judas had to play his part. And listen, let me tell you something. Don't get upset with Judas, because Satan has used a lot of us.
That's right.
Come on, somebody.
That's right.
Satan has used a lot of us. The same way he used Judas.
That's right.
See, Judas thought that he was smart. And Judas thought that he had more sense than the other boys. Judas was the one that managed the money.
That's right.
And carried the money.
That's
If you're
right.
familiar when Jesus spoke to the 5,000, not counting the women and the children, and it got late in the evening, and one of the disciples said to them, you ought to send them home. And then there was another in the background that said, yeah, send them home because we ain't got enough money to feed them. That was Judas.
That's right.
Always concerned about the money. And Judas figured that Jesus was just talking a bunch of stuff about, I'm going to lay down my life, but I'm going to pick it up. Judas thought that Jesus was talking a bunch of stuff, and he thought that it would be all over. And so Judas said, I'm not going to be like these other boys. I'm going to make me some money out of this thing.
All right.
They're gonna go away broke, but I'm gonna make sure that when this is all over, I'm gonna have me a pocket full of money.
Preach, out, preach.
And so we look in the 2nd chapter, says that in the supper being ended, the devil having now put it in the heart of Judas Iscariot to betray Jesus. Now look at it. Jesus has just instituted the Lord's Supper. Has just taken the bread and said, this is my body. Taken it and said that and told himself, I'm not going to do this with you no more until I do this with you in my Father's kingdom.
That's right.
And Judas hears nothing.
My Lord.
And you might even want to go on to say right in church. teach them to
Work,
get ready.
work.
He was thinking about money.
That's right.
He was thinking about how he could betray Jesus. And so it's interesting what John says, because John, first of all, John wants us to understand that Jesus was God and man.
All right.
He wants us to understand that Jesus was 100% God and 100% man. He wants us to know that grace and truth came by Jesus Christ, and that Jesus Christ was grace and truth.
Yes.
But look at it. John says that after they had eaten the supper, it was customary that while they were eating, because they ate the lamb with bitter herbs and roasted and spices, but it was customary that they made a sauce to eat the meat with, and it was customary that you would take some of the meat and hand it to one of the guests. Now watch what John he says, and after he says, and then lying on Jesus' breast said unto him, Lord, who is it? Because Jesus had told them that one of them was going to betray it, and they wanted to know who is it. Now, let me point out to you today that if Jesus had told them it was Judas, it would have been a fight. Right. They wouldn't have let him out the house. It would have been a fight. They wouldn't have let him out the house. And Jesus gave him up. But Jesus could not give him up because it was in prophecy that Judas would do this.
Yeah.
All right? David talked about it. In Psalms 41 and 9, he says, yea, mine own familiar friend,
all right,
in whom I trusted,
yes,
which did eat of my bread, has lifted up his head against me.
Yes.
Come on, somebody. Genesis 3:15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed, and he shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
Yes.
And so Judas was only fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
That already had been prophesied by David. That had already been prophesied by God that Judas was only be clenching at Jesus' heels.
Right.
Now come on, and after the Satan entered unto him, then said Jesus unto him, that thou doest, do quickly.
Yeah, Lord. Yes.
Now no man at the table knew what intent he spoke unto him. Some of them thought because Judas had the bed, and that Jesus said unto him, by those things which we have a need of against the feast, that we should give something to the poor. He then, having received the sop, went out immediately, and it was not. Now, here's where we get to the heart of this message. Matthew says that he talks about Judas betraying him, and says that after it was over, that they went out to the Mount of Olives. Jesus went to Gethsemane and in agony prayed till sweat ran down like drops of blood. But John says that when the supper was over and Judas had gone out to betray him, John says that Jesus decides to have Bible classes.
All right.
Says he decides to have a teaching lesson with them.
Yeah.
And so we hear him say unto them, we hear him say unto them, now Judas has gone out his money. He says, now is the Son of Man glorified, and God glorified in him. And if God be glorified in him, God shall also glorify him in himself, and shall straightway glorify him. Jesus says, now, can I go die for you?
All right.
Did y'all hear me today?
Uh-huh.
He said, I'm glorified by being appointed to save the world. The Father is glorified in my saving the world. The Father and I are glorified together in seeing our ruined work redeemed and restored.
All right.
So we need to understand that when Adam and Eve messed up in the garden,
Yes.
something had to be done.
That's right.
Adam and Eve had ruined the world.
Mm.
Adam and Eve had messed up God's plan.
Yes.
But here in this scripture, we hear Jesus saying, now I can make everything right again.
All right.
We hear Jesus saying, now I can really get some honor. Now I can really get some glory.
Yes.
You would think that when John baptized him in the river of Jordan,
Yes.
and the windows of heaven ascended and descended like a dove. Well, let me tell you, that was God's affirmation,
All right.
affirming that Jesus was the Savior of the world.
Uh-huh.
And the Spirit of God ascending and descending. And then God spoke out of heaven and said, this is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased.
Yes.
Yet God had confirmed that he was the Son of God.
Uh-huh.
But Jesus didn't have no honor in that. I believe I'm right about it. You would think that when he took some pots of water and turned them into wine,
Yes.
then he would have had some glory in that.
Uh-huh.
But there was no glory in turning water into wine.
That's right.
You would think that when he was on his way to the centurion, and he said, listen, I'm a man of great respect, but listen, you don't have to go to my house.
That's
and
right.
just speak the word. But yet there was no glory in that.
Uh-huh.
But you hear Jesus saying in our text this morning, he says, now the Son of Man can be glorified.
Yes.
Now the Son of Man
Now.
can really shine. In
Uh-huh.
other words, now, if you couldn't see me, then.
Yeah.
You ought to be able to see me now.
Yes.
I believe I'm right about it. You see, they didn't have to go to Calvary to have the affirmation and the confirmation that Jesus really was the Son of God.
Uh-huh.
He had done enough and he had said enough to prove that he was the Son of God.
Yes.
And so you hear him saying, little children, yet a little while I'm with you,
Yes.
and you shall see me no more. And I say unto you, Jews, whether I go, you cannot come. So now I say to you, well, you want to say this morning, like get ready to close.
Uh-huh.
What was Jesus really saying? Jesus is telling them, I will be with you this day,
Yes.
but in a few more hours.
Uh-huh.
It's going to get dark in the world.
Yeah.
I believe I'm right about it. In a few more hours, they're going to crucify me.
Yes.
In a few more hours, I'm going to die and go in a grave and stay there for 3 long days.
Yes.
But I want you to tell you this morning that he went to the grave and got up out the grave and declared that all power was in his hand.
Yes.
I believe I'm right about it. But he wanted them to know, he said, where I go,
Yes.
you can't follow me now.
That's right.
And then you hear one of the disciples say, Lord, we don't know where you're going.
Uh-huh.
And how can we find the way? Well, I'm going to tell you how to get to Jesus.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get to Jesus, you have to keep your eye on him.
Yes.
The only way you can get to Jesus, you got to stay focused on him.
Yes.
Well, you may not have the job you want. You may not have the money you want in your pocket.
Yes.
You may not be driving the kind of car you have. You may not be living in the kind of house you want to live in.
Yes.
But if you follow Jesus,
Yes.
everything will be all right. And so Jesus says to them, you don't need to know where I'm going.
That's right.
Just believe I am the Son of God.
Yes.
You don't have to know where I'm going. Just believe that I'm in the Father and the Father is in me. You don't have to know where I'm going. Just trust that if I'm in the Father and the Father in me, that everything I do is going to be all right. And so he said, listen, I'll tell you what you do. He didn't tell them to follow me to Calvary. He didn't tell them that.
That's right.
He just said, follow me to the crucifixion, because I want you to see just what they're going to do to me. But what he said to them, he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Yes.
No man goes to the Father but by me. And understand that if you want to see Jesus, keep your hand in the winding chain. If you want to see Jesus, keep your hand in Jesus' hand. And I come to tell you that everything is going to be all right. Jesus said, because I go to my Father, let me tell you, because I go to my Father, whatever you ask in my name, believing you shall be able to receive it.
That's right.
It may not come when you want it.
Yes.
But one thing about it, I come to tell you this morning, it will be on time.
Yes.
Am I right about it?
Yes.
It was said at the Bible class, because Jesus told them, I've got to go. But Jesus wanted to tell them, listen, there's nothing for you to be sad about, because one thing about it, if I go to my Father, something tell me in the Bible that he tabernacled with them for 40 long days.
That's right.
That he caught a cloud and went back and sat down on the right hand of the Father. And they kept on standing there looking and glazing at Jesus. God sent an angel and said, why you still standing here? Why you still gazing? That same Jesus that gone up in the cloud, he's coming back again. I believe I'm right about it. And so we find in our text this morning that Jesus said, listen, no need to be sad, because if I go back to my Father, I'm going to send you a comforter. I'm going to send my Paracletus. I'm going to send you some help. If I go back to my Father, and that Paracletus will walk with you in a midnight hour. That Paracletus will talk to you in a lonely hour. That Paracletus will sit beside you when you're hungry. That Paracletus will make everything all right. The teachings of Jesus. John says he taught them. He taught them. After Jesus had gone out, he taught them. May God add a blessing to the hearing and the reading of his word.
Amen. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord until I
I'm going to do the best I can. Yeah, I'm going to do the best I can until I die. Oh, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to do the best I can. Yeah, I'm going to do the best I can until I die. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. And he taught them. He taught them. Well, I got a lot. Man, in a lot of places I thought you were going. So I got a lot out of that, brother. That was some good teaching. That was some good preaching. Amen. That was definitely some good word. Amen. That was some good word. You know what? Let's do altar call. And then I'm going to bring you back to close us out. Amen. That was good. That was some really, really, really good word. And one of the things about it, when you have some good word like that, you know what? You can't help but wanting to do the best you can for the Lord. At this time, it's now time for altar call.
Can I read this?
Oh, okay. Go ahead. You want to read that
This
first?
is why I want to altar call, because a guy from my job sent me a message. And I'll read it to you guys. It said, sorry it's so early, brother, but this is from my brother in South Korea. He goes by Mac. He asked me to put them on your prayer list. And then it's just what you guys sent me. It said, Mike, please pass to your pastor buddy for prayers. On the other side of the world, here in Korea, yesterday I was diagnosed with a tumor on my thymus. This actually explains a lot about some issues I have been dealing with for a couple of years. I just thought they were the product going over. But the family physician said when you put them all together, it paints the picture of something